Okay, welcome back to MatrixGold. Here we are inside the MatrixGold program interface, and we are going to continue our second one in our beginner series. Today, in this video, we're going to talk about the viewports, mainly the view command or tab in here, but we will talk about some of the other tabs as well. So let's go ahead and just get started. We'll grab a solid. We'll just grab a square again, and we'll just drop it right in here, and we'll bring it up to maybe around here. And then I'll go ahead and shade it. We will talk about the display modes a little bit. But first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this and go to my transform menu and go to center objects and then hit enter. So it takes it right to the center. And if you look at my gumball, it's totally centered within the viewports, right? So from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this up because it's going to demonstrate some of the views that we're going to be able to achieve. So I'm going to go to taper real quick. I'm going to grab my object and hit enter. And I am going to select this side here, and I'll drag that down so it tapers it in like that. And I'll grab another viewport here, or another side. I'll grab that same side, sorry. Enable my second link thing there, and then I'll drag that in so it's something like that there. Okay, and then I'll hit enter. And then the green one, I'll just, I'll just keep it. I'll go ahead and just come over here, and I can hide it by clicking on the hide. Or if I show it, I can show it back. And I can change to a different layer, and then click off click it by hiding it by clicking on that eye right there on the thing. Now, if I was on here, I would not be able to click, cannot hide current layer. So you have to change it to a different layer to be able to hide it, okay? And then I'll just take this one and I'll change it by clicking on that arrow there to that color there. So we have that color, all right? So that's all that right there, just getting it set up. And then also, well, we do it later. So let's get going on this. Viewports, right? So right now, my perspective is activated. And this is important to know for when you're doing rendering, because rendering you want, you will need to have the viewport active for whatever render view you want. So if you want the right view, you need to click on the right one to make sure it's highlighted, and you can see the rest are dark, so they are not active. So if you do a render, it'll render from this side, right side here. If you click here and activate this one, it'll do perspective, and likewise with the others. So you can see I'm changing the viewport or the active viewport by just clicking in any area. All right, you can also adjust the viewports to different sizes, however you want. You can go to the center here too and kind of drag it over to adjust whatever size you want. Or you can also do the downsize, you know, or any way you want to set up any of your viewports. You can make them bigger, smaller, or whatever. And if I go back, there we go. Okay. So you can activate them that way. You can also go in and double click on one of the tabs, and that'll make it a full view, right? So you have the full view. In order to go back, you'll need to double click to go back to all four. So if I click on this one and I want to change to my front, but I want it the same full screen, you can just come down here to your tabs here and then switch views full screen from here. But you cannot go back to the four. You'll have to double click there to go back to the four views. All right, and there's a lot you can do in here. First, if I right click, I activate it, right? But if I left click, I activate, left clicking. Okay, if I right click on the tab here, I get this menu to pop up, or I can just left click on this one and get the same menu to pop up. So either way, right click on it or left click on that. All right, and it'll pull up those extra tabs. So let's pull them up, and then here we have all kind of rendering modes. So these are all our rendering modes over here, or display modes, I should say. So you can change display modes by clicking over here to wireframe. Sometimes if you left click on it, you'll just change the one screen that is active. So I can go to render view. I can go through, I think it's X-ray, ghosted. This one's X-ray. So you can go through there and click on different modes to have left clicking, just the one. If you right click, you change them all, right? So you can change them all by right clicking on the ones that you want. So I'll just right click on shaded there. You can also go in here and change. They have some extra ones in here. Art color. I don't think that's in here. I'm not sure. Oh, maybe it is. Yeah. Okay. It's a lot of them are in here as well. But you can go in here and change chalk outline. There's a bunch of different ones. Pastel. I think we just did. Tech white. I mean, there's tons that you can do. So you can just go back over here as well. So there's two ways to change, clicking here and then changing them, or coming over here in your display modes and changing them. All right. And then if I right click on it, we're talking about viewports. So you can come down here, scroll down to set view, right? So right now I have a perspective view, but maybe, I want two perspective views for some reason. And actually it comes in handy at times. So I can go in here and I can set view. I have this one activated. So I'll go to set view and I'll change it to a perspective view. Okay, now I have two perspective views that act independently of each other. So I'm able to, maybe scope out this side here that I need to at a certain angle in the perspective, and I can also move it around here so I can manipulate it in both areas, which really comes in handy. You can also go in here and go to set view and set it to any of these, top, bottom, left, right. One I think is kind of interesting is back. So now I can see the back side of it as well. So, it really can come in handy, looking at the back side while you're doing certain things. What else we got here? Perspective, 2 points. This one's kind of crazy. It gives you a little crazy look. But there's it just depends on what you're doing, of course. And I'll click on that and I'll go back to set view to my perspective again. And let's see, what else can we do in here? We can also change the active viewport in here. Besides just clicking on it, we can come in here and we can change it to the front viewport. Now the front viewport is active. But really just clicking on the viewport's much faster and easier, but that's another option for anybody that wants it. And then viewport layout. There's a lot you can do in here. So I have my perspective. Let's go to this perspective here, and let's click on that box there, and viewport layout. So let's grab a new viewport. So now we have a new viewport, right? But if I click, it disappears, right? But if I click back on it, it'll come back up. So let's change this viewport to a floating viewport. Okay, so now it's a floating viewport. So I can go in here and click on these other viewports and it not disappear when it's in the floating viewport. So basically what you have to do, let's close out of this one, is go to right click on your tab there, go down to viewport layouts, get a new viewport, and then right click on that viewport and set it as a floating viewport. And now you're able to have that in the center there, and you can size that down to any size that you want to be able to look at it, right? Which can come in handy when you're working on some things and you want to stay focused on a certain area while you're working in a different view. So that's another option. Also down here in viewports, let's see, what do we got here? Let's go to our front viewport and let's activate that. And we'll go to our layouts and then we'll just split that horizontally. So now we have two viewports that we can actually change around to whatever we want. Let's see, let's go to perspective on one. So we have something like this we can work with as well. And then you can also, if you want to, change them into vertical. So now we have this going on. So basically you can get tons of different views on whatever you're working on inside the viewports, setting it up however you want. Layout. And if you want to get a 3 viewport, well, you just click on the 3 viewport area there, layout, 3 viewports. And if you want to go back to the 4, just click on the 4. And if you ever get something, you know, like say you take this by accident, go to active layout and you put it as a floating. Now this one is a floating, but my viewport's gone here, right? So it's basically all you have to do is go back to viewport layout and click on 4 viewports and it's back. So it's no big deal. But I do like the one view, the back view at times. It can really come in handy. And of course you can always go back and shade all of them, or you can just have some in different modes. So if I take this one and click on it, and this one and click on it, and I can take this one and click on render, take this one, click on ghosted. So there's you can set it up pretty much unlimited amount of ways, right? Which is good at times, and you can also adjust the sizes and everything. So what else we got in here? Set 4, set 3, split horizontal, split vertical, hide viewport tabs. Don't really want to use that one too often. Float viewport and new viewport. Okay, so that's all those. And yeah, okay. Now if we go to our view tab here, we have all kind of options. We can go back and undo any changes that we did. We can redo any changes that we did, and we can restore all our active viewports to the original settings, right? We can also go to surface mode. This one actually makes my grid larger for some reason. I don't know why. But you can go, if I select here, go here. Yeah, okay, well, not sure. There we go, it zoomed in a little bit. Let's click on make this one active. Let's select this item and then go here. Nope. Okay, well, gym view, we'll come back to this. Well, let's just go ahead and do it now since we're here. I'll just get a gym out here, and then I'll take my gym up. I'll drag it off center, and then I'll rotate it kind of so that it's at a strange angle, right? But I want to get in there and kind of work on this direction. There's a couple different ways, but the gym view is really nice. You can click on your gym, go to your views tab, and go to gym view here, and now it'll center it in all of them except for your perspective. So it'll, or if you click on here, I think maybe, and then go to gym view, yeah, it'll just do it in your top bottom right or top front right, not your perspective. But you can click on it. Let's click on it here, and we'll go to gym, yeah, and then it'll center it up. And you can also get your gumball to align to object, so now it's aligned to that object. And actually, if you look over here, you can see what's going on, and you're able to do manipulation on that gym in a much more easier way than trying to do it over here with this side, you know, looking at it like that, where it's off, right? So I'm going to restore my viewports. Yeah, there we go. See, if you were trying to do that same thing with it to the C-plane there, it's really complicated. So let's get rid of that. So you have your gym view. That's actually a really good one. You will definitely want to remember that one. You can pan. You can do this much easier other ways. Pan your view. Uh, you can rotate. You can actually rotate by holding down the left button any window. Let's go ahead and restore those. Here's the menu that we really want to get into, the zoom. So right now, you can, the window one, right? So the window one, if there's an area that you really want to take a look at, you can just draw a box around it, and then it zooms right into that area. So anything, any any place that you want to look at more closely, all you have to do is go to the window one, and then just draw a little box around it, and then let go, and it'll snap it real nice and close for you. So it'll zoom into it. All right, that's another one. Moving down, a target. So target is kind of the same thing, and just draw a box around the entire thing to a point. So if I click this point and then draw a box, it'll zoom it in like that. So if I want this corner right here, I just click on it. I can go in here, draw a little box, and it'll snap it up into there, right? So that's another one. Oh, extents. So if I activate this perspective viewport and I go into extents and I click on it, it just brings the object into as big as it can into where it takes into my window. So if I click here and I go to extents, it'll, oh yeah, there we go. Oh, it'll take it as big as it can to fill up your window there. So if you're in, let's see, let's go to perspective here, double click on it and take it way out there. And if I go to extents, it'll just bring it real nice and close for me. All right, let's go back to all four. Because the next one, if they're all kind of all over the place and you're kind of getting lost, it's real easy, just all extents, and then it will just snap everything back into any objects that you have. So from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that, I'm going to hold down Alt and drag me another one, and then I'm going to hold down Alt again and drag me another one. So I just made duplicates of these made duplicates of these items here by clicking on it, holding down Alt, and then clicking my gumball and then dragging one out, right? And I'm going to delete that one there. Okay, so you can also selected items, right? So if I select all these items and then I go up here and hit selected, it brings those into full viewport, right? So if I go to this one, I select those items there. So maybe I just want these two here kind of brought into view. I can take those two, go to selected, and it'll bring those two right up there with me. So I can get a better look at them, right? So that's another one, selected. Dynamic is kind of, if you click on it, you hold down the, I believe the left button and then pan in and out. You can zoom in and out. If I right click, bring back the command, I can zoom in and out by just holding down the left button and pushing forward and backward on my mouse. And it'll let you zoom in and out. All right. So you can do that to any. If you right click, you bring back commands. And again, if you go down here to your command line and right click, it'll bring you up a view, and you can do it that way too. So don't forget that command line is pretty cool. Selected, right? Nothing was selected, so I can go back here, hit selected, and it'll pop that right in there. Okay, so you can always bring back commands here or your recent commands over here. All right, and continuing on, selected one-on-one is more for setting up the, we'll talk about that in another video. And naked edges, well, I guess we'll just go ahead. So I'll take one of these, and we haven't talked about it yet, but we need closed, watertight surfaces. So this is a closed, if I look at my properties, it's a closed poly surface, right? But I can explode it. So I just nuked it. So it's in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different pieces, perhaps. So if I look at it now, it's just a planar surface, right? So if I wanted to look at what we call naked edges, which we'll get into later, I can actually click here, and it'll tell me to select the objects. I want to check to see if there's any naked edges in these, and hit enter. And then right away it's going to show me one, but I have some options down here. I can go and look at all my naked edges, because right here it says naked edges 1 of 224. Press enter when done. So you can see, and you can kind of go through there and use those commands: current one, next one, previous one, mark one. So those are just a quick way to see naked edges. There's also another in your analytics or analyze tab here. If you go to edge tools and click on objects, click on show edges, you can go over here and click on them and hit enter, and it'll show all your naked edges. Or if you click on this button here, it'll show manifold edges, which there aren't any, and here it'll show all your edges for the most part, even the ones that are closed surface. Okay, so we'll turn that back to naked, and so that's another option. What else we got in here? Oh, wrong one. View. Let's see. Okay, so we went through, we zoomed, we did all those, kind of. Z buffer we'll talk about later. Walkabouts more for camera. Clipping planes for other things. We'll talk about that much later. C plane. Oh, grid options here. Set camera background, that's for pictures. Then you have lots of options for setting the C plane, which we'll go into another video. Grid options real quick. Okay, so if you click on grid options, you're down here at the command line. It tells you your spacing and everything, and show right now extents, it's 20, so 20 by 20. You can take that and change it to 60 and hit enter, and now you have 60 going that way, and you can change them for apply to active viewport or apply to all viewports. So you can change your grid around to however you want. I'm just going to go ahead and change it back to 20 and hit enter, so all of them back, and I can come up here and restore active viewports. Oh, there, restore active viewports. Okay, so everything's back to normal, right? And again, you can go in and manipulate all these different things down in here, right? So that's pretty cool. Just for viewing, because believe me, there will be times where those things will come in handy while you're working on something and you want to see it. Is there any others in here? No, I think we're going to go ahead and call it a day on this one. Oh, you can undo your last commands or redo them. Restore, surface, gem view, pan. Yeah, okay. So hopefully this will help you. And once you start really getting into the modeling, these will come in handy for you. So thanks for watching, and good designing.